Hello.
Yvonne, hello.
Hi, Michael. Listen, I'm very
How are you?
nervous. I'm good, thank you, but I'm really quite nervous about this whole situation. I'm trying to keep my dog quiet at the right-hand side of me here. I've got my phone in front of me so I can actually see the questions that come up. And I've typed up the questions that we've had already.
Brilliant.
So we've got loads to talk about. And like I say, I'm just hoping, I'm desperately, I've got dog treats, trying to keep the dog quiet.
Good idea. No, I've left my
So,
dog upstairs, so I come down to the salon where it's quiet.
so you've got no distractions then. Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. It's just me and the dog, basically. So I'm trying to juggle everything and everybody. Thank you so much for your time today and for joining us. There's been so much discussion about your products within the group,
Brilliant.
which
Thank you.
I know that, you know, people have sort of contacted you to actually say that, which is how we've ended up where we are today, because Louise approached me and said, can we do something with you? Because we believe that you've got loads of people talking about our products and we'd really like to engage with you, which is absolutely fabulous. So we do really appreciate the fact that you're honouring us with your presence. We feel very blessed.
My pleasure. And for all of the group that have sent questions in too, it's really helpful for us because that gives me a chance to answer these questions, not just directly, but also through the blogs. Because I know that if one person's thinking it, you know, there's hundreds of others that may be also thinking, but not saying that. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about hair care, and it's good to try and clear some of that up.
And that's really what we want to try and do today. So I have had some questions from all of our members beforehand, before we've met, so I can try and be organised, because I thought, look, what if nobody turns up, Michael, and there's just you and I? And well, I'm sure we'd find something to talk about, and I'm sure Louise has already told you that I'm, you know, probably very able to chat with you for hours. I'm a bit concerned because Louise said that you can also chat a lot, so potentially we might be here sometime. So please, can you tell us a bit about your brand, how it came about, and a little bit about yourself? That would be brilliant, please.
Well, I've been working in the West End of London in luxury salons. First 10 years I spent with John Frieda. I was his apprentice, and then I opened up my own salon, which we've had now for gone 32 years. And really, the hair product journey for me was about trying to fulfill my own needs and the clients' needs in the salon. And we developed a product range which we just used for ourselves, and we found that what the big conglomerates were offering just wasn't really satisfying for us or for the clients and their needs. But we never actually went out and sold those products. So it was really only the clients saying to us, you know, why don't you sell it outside? Why don't you sell it outside? But these were prescriptive products designed by a trichologist without help. And, you know, it's a big thing to take things out onto the world market.
Yeah.
I was very busy with my clients. I was very busy with my family, my children, and we just let that go on year after year. Till eventually I found the time and thought that we really should share this product and range outside. That was really how the range started, with a very small collection of products, which we built over time. And you know, these products are not off the shelf. You know, we have 4 or 5 different labs that work with us, and you know, for most of their clients, they take a product formula off the shelf, package it in a different way, and out it goes. But for us, number one, we have to like it. Our stylists have to like it. It has to work. It has to perform. And that's a 2 to 3 year journey for every product, because we test ourselves. We test resolutely in the salon, through our stylists, through our clients. And only when we're fully happy that one of our products is better than anything else we can buy off the shelf of that type, are we prepared to go into production. Because there's no point us producing something that isn't better than what's already out there.
Yeah.
To me, that's a waste of time. And also my stylist wouldn't wear it either, because they work on the session circuit, for shows in the salons. If they're not using the best, they'll go and find it and have it in their kit bag.
Yeah.
I don't have that control. So it's a collective decision when we're testing products. Do we agree that this is actually what we want to be using? Is this the best? And then we launch.
Fabulous. Well, we're glad that you've launched, and we're glad that you've taken them beyond the walls of your salon and out to the rest of the world. But we're mindful that you are a premium brand, and for some of us that's fine, and for others they'd love to use the products but they just can't. So bearing that in mind, how can people go silicone free? Why should they go silicone free? And what are their options that keep it purse friendly, but literally will get them into the right kind of hair care regime?
Well, those are great questions. But first, I'll come back to the first one about purse friendly. Our products are professional quality first. They're not designed for the market initially. They're what we want to use, what we know professional salons we want to use, and then they're made available to the market. They're not diluted like a lot of the products in the supermarket. Something else that people tend to use far too much of product. On a lot of our products, we actually will say sparingly, use less, use one shampoo. It's unlikely you'll need two if you're washing your hair regularly. Now, for a lot of people, that's very surprising. Why are you telling us to use up less of your product? To me, that's perfectly natural. We want you to get the most impact for the least cost. And if you consider these things and the long-term benefits, I don't believe that the products are more expensive per use and in terms of all the other benefits that come through. Yeah.
I think sometimes it's just a big initial investment, and we have everyone from teenagers who are at uni right the way through to our, we literally have every kind of demographic within our group, all looking to, find that solution that's right for them. So I think that's sort of where that comes from.
Value for money is very important to me, and as the brand, these products have been made available to the public now for 10 years. Like our key hero product, Lifesaver, this was the one that started it. We've used this as a backwash prescriptive product for 30 years nearly now. It's been available to the public for 10 years. This and many of the other products haven't changed in price in that time. The cost of the ingredients has gone up a lot, but we've actually managed, because we're producing much higher volumes, we've managed to absorb those costs. And I'd love to carry on that way. I don't want to keep hiking prices. I'm proud of the fact that for 11 years, we've kept the prices the same. Yeah. And as the products become even more popular, and they are becoming very popular around the world, all the way to Australia, we will produce more and we will keep costs down. I went on to the distributor's website of our Australian distributor recently. I'd never gone on before. I was just looking through, they sell our products. It's a fantastic store group called Mecca. And I was just looking through their reviews, their customer reviews. They sell 598 hair products. 598. Ours had the second most reviews for this and the highest score out of 598 products. And I thought that was amazing. And many of the reviews were things like, I can't believe this is not more widely known. It's the most amazing product. Yeah. But that, it's picking up its own speed around the world. We don't do marketing in Australia. It just gets found and word of mouth carries it on. That is definitely what's happened within our group, I have to say. And we have members, whilst we are a UK styling tips group, we have members across the world who now are hearing all the stories of people that have used the products and literally are wanting to, get hold of them themselves. So you might need to increase your distributors across the globe, Michael. Yes, we are.
But, you know, that has definitely been the case for us. I know I tried using your products, started using your products. I started with the styling range to start with and used the mousse and things like that because I couldn't quite find something that was just quite right. Now, our two biggest questions on our group are, how can I make my curls hold and what products can I use? So we share these tips constantly.
Yes.
And I've been using silicone-free since about May time. I've been on holiday and I've had a nightmare with humidity and my hair just literally frazzled and looked hideous. And when I got home, I thought I really need to address the condition of my hair, which is why I started to look silicone-free. I started with a different brand, which was premium brand, more expensive than your brand. And they were nice, you know, they were nice. And that's how I've always felt about shampoo and conditioner. It's done what it needs to do. And then I started using 3 More Inches and I started with the stand products. I thought these are really nice. And I'll be honest, I've been stalking you for months and I looked at your reviews and I thought, these are too good to be true. I'm not quite believing everything everybody's saying. Is it fake? Because you don't market, you know, you are a salon, you're not a huge brand. You know, you're big enough, but you're not massive. And then in the end, I couldn't resist any longer, Michael. And I thought, I'm going to have to just take the plunge and buy these products. And the first thing I used was Lifesaver whilst finishing off the shampoo and conditioner of my other range. And I was like, oh my God. And I've never felt like that about any products. I've used that many. I've never felt like, wow, this is different.
It's different.
Yeah. So I started to talk to people and people started to ask about silicone-free. And I started to say, well, you know, try this brand. And then a few more people tried it. And then to be honest, a lot of our members will have tried these products in the last month or so because the word spread, Christmas hit. And I think everybody started to think, oh, I'll try some of that for Christmas, you know, and it's just kind of blown up really from there. So it's been amazing, the response that's been had, and it's created its own questions in its own way, because then it was like, is there something about this product? Are people selling it? Are they getting something for selling this product? There's that much talk about it. There's something suspicious about this.
There's no multi-level marketing going on, I can assure you.
Well, we tried to reassure people of that, but basically we talked so much about it, and given it is a Dyson Airwrap group, people getting a bit fed up. So we've actually set up now, Michael, a separate group where we can talk to our heart's content about your products. And we get loads of different responses from loads of different people, and we've got people starting out on their silicone-free journey who are having mixed reviews, you know. And I guess when I started using it and I had that wow moment, not everybody gets that wow moment from the outset because everybody's experiencing different things. So I guess that's sort of some of the questions and what have you around that as well. Sort of, why do people have different experiences? I'll give you an indication of sort of some of the things that we've had. And I always tell people, please stick with it and ride it out. But basically, we've had a couple of people who have had really greasy hair after using it. And I don't know if the Lifesaver sitting on top of silicone-based products. We've had some people who've used it and been a bit nonplussed by it, not thought it's that great. And then we've got people who have tried it, but their hair has felt like straw using it. And they're like, now, I've used a silicone-free product before I went completely silicone-free, and I had the straw effect when my hair was really damaged and I tried to use a mask. And I thought, oh my God, and I literally just had to pile the silicone-based product back in because I was like, it feels hideous. So what happens? What goes on?
Well, I'll explain. I'll talk a bit about the history of silicone as well, because I've lived through that. If you'd like to understand a little bit more about where it came in. And in the very early days, it was used in a product called Wash and Go. I don't know if you know about, you're probably all too young to remember that.
Didn't it cause your hair to wash and go, Michael? I think that was the problem with washing. I am old enough.
Okay, well it was the biggest selling product in the world, Wash and Go, for hair. It was $1 billion product. But it did have this issue that the silicone that was in the product was seeping down into the scalp, compacting around the pores, and a lot of people started complaining about losing their hair. This went on for a few years, and I remember as a stylist working in the salon, I got a phone call at reception one day from someone at P&G who I went to the phone and said, look, we understand that there's these stories going around the professional circuit about wash and go causing hair thinning. And I said, well, we're listening to what clients are telling us for what we're seeing. So, yes, there are stories going around, but we're responding to what people are telling us as well. I didn't hear anything else after that. A year later, the brand was pulled from the market. $1 billion brand was pulled from the market. Within a year, P&G had come out with Pantene, another wash and go type product, and they built that into a multi-billion-dollar brand. But on the professional circuit, there was a product called Laminates that was from a brand in Los Angeles that we were using professionally on photo shoots for models because it had an ability to smooth the hair down, take away frizz. When you're doing a photo shoot, in those days there was no Photoshop. You left frizzy hair.
Smooth.
It had to be airbrushed. Brushing was really expensive. An artist had to come and airbrush and paint out a print, then it had to be photographed again. It was a very expensive process. This was a great product that you could use on the day to actually make a model's hair look smoother. It was actually my boss, John, at the time, that saw this as a way to actually use in the salon, blow drying very frizzy hair, and that it would actually stop damp weather getting to the hair so much. Yeah. That was the beginning of frizzies. Frizzies was such a huge success that every other manufacturer thought, hang on a second, here's a cheap ingredient, silicone. We can put this in all of our products, and hey bingo, people think they've got smooth, healthy hair. Yeah. So, as a product, it was a huge success. But the other side of that was that silicone, as well as stopping moisture getting in, displaced moisture in the hair. So it replaced some of the water content of the hair. And your hair, when it's fresh out of the scalp, is about 3% water and 97% protein. As it becomes degraded, the ends of the hair can end up with no water whatsoever.
Yeah.
And using silicone a lot tends to make the hair brittle and dehydrated. Yeah. And that's where people find that the hair becomes very rough, and the only quick solution is to varnish it with silicone again. So silicone is something which can cure it on the day, but give you more problems for tomorrow or for next week. And so,
do you know,
it's not to say it's a bad thing. It's like saying, I think the way the hair care market has developed, all the manufacturers call it hair care, but in truth, most of the products now are hair cosmetics. They're covering damage, they're not treating it. And in the skincare market, it's very clear that you have skincare and makeup. You wouldn't call makeup skincare.
No.
It's covering. And unfortunately, all the silicone and all your heavy oils that go into products now are really just covering damage.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I have to say, from a consumer perspective, when your hair starts going wrong and you're starting to feel things are a bit dry or a bit damaged or a bit whatever, it's such a minefield to know how to address it. And I have been on the wild goose chase of products to wonder, do I need protein? Do I need hydration? Do I need moisture? What's the difference between them all? And actually, I mean, it was on this group, one of our other admins, Diane, talked quite a bit about protein. I thought maybe that's what I need. But trying to find out what protein is in a hair care product, I was completely baffled. So, how do we as consumers try and weave our way through that minefield to know
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot to it, but it is actually quite simple as well. Fresh hair is 97% protein, a couple of different proteins, and water. That's fresh hair. There's no silicone in it, there's no argan oil, there's no lovely forest flower essentials. It's protein and water.
Yeah.
So anything else going on that sounds lovely in the marketing is not really rebuilding the hair. It's covering, it's masking. And that's fine, because sometimes we need makeup. We need makeup on the hair. But to claim that it's a treatment, and you know, I see packs of hair product that I know are full of silicone. I read the back, it's cyclopentasiloxane, dimethicone, trimethicone, amodimethicone, conals, you know, and there's like 3 or 4 of them in the first 6 ingredients. So I know it's 98% silicone. And yet on the front, it will say hydrating and moisturizing. You know, you can only hydrate and moisturize with water.
Yeah.
Hydra is from the Greek for water, hydro. You cannot possibly hydrate hair with silicone.
No.
What's happening is the hair's being lubricated, you know, like engine oil lubricates an engine, and made to feel soft. So you think that that is healthy, and you continue using that because it gives you the instant hit, not realizing that you become trained to using this product because it's actually slowly deteriorating your hair.
Yeah. And that's it. It's counterproductive, isn't it? So,
I mean, I'll show you this. I mean, if I show you this image here, you know, if we look at this image here, we see, I don't know if you can quite see, the hair is very thinned out at the bottom and broken.
yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. So this is a picture of the hair shaft. Hair shaft that comes out at the roots is very full and the cuticle lays smooth. As it starts to degrade, the cuticle lifts and the hair is starting to thin down. And what's actually happening is the hair's dehydrating. As it dehydrates, the protein structure, which gives it the strength, becomes less stable. So when the hair bends, as when you're styling or whatever, instead of bending and then bending back again, it bends, but a few chinks of the molecules break away and they're washed down the sink. As that carries on, the cuticle lifts even more and becomes very, very rough. At this point here, the hair is very prone to snapping and to splitting.
Yeah.
So when the cuticle is that lifted and that rough, treating the hair will help a little, and keeping the treatment in the hair is going to help it bend a little bit more. It will hydrate it, but not permanently. You know, you can never turn this hair back to that hair. But what you can do by treating the hair is maintain the quality of this hair much further down. So instead of this hair turning like that, this hair stays more complete as it grows.
Yeah. So,
and that's really what's happening. So it's very possible to keep much more of this quality much further down the hair. But yeah, I've been in the industry over 42 years now, and I have to say the quality of people's hair is worse now on average than it's ever been in my career. You know, people are doing more things to their hair, and they're using products that are damaging to the hair as well. And so we have a lot of hair where people have maybe 5 or 10% of the hair left at the bottom. It's so broken. It's so broken, so split and so thinned out. And a lot of people think that's just normal, and it doesn't have to be. You know, you can color your hair, you can heat style your hair, but you have to do it in a way that's healthier for the hair, and you have to counterbalance it by putting something back. You can't keep taking out of a material that's no longer connected to your metabolism. And that's the problem. You know, you can scratch your skin and within a few weeks it's repaired. You damage your hair, that has to wait for new hair to come through and replace that hair. You know, once it's gone, it's gone. So looking after the hair on a daily basis with good habits is very important to allow you to do more to your hair.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I do apologise, we've got the dog involved with this.
That's lovely.
this whole situation as well, because he was scratching at the chair. So we've got the dog joining in as well. I'm going to go through, I'm going to check, because we've talked loads and you've told me so much, but I just think if we cut to some of the actual questions,
Sure.
and whilst I'm looking at those, we've had a question about the cashmere. So the fact Cashmere proteins. Now, cashmere is known to be quite a cruel process to extract cashmere. I believe your cashmere comes from goats. Can you explain to us what's what with that?
Well, the cashmere protein is almost identical to the molecular structure of human hair, and that's why the hair absorbs it at a deep level. And it's why we have a pre-wash treatment, which is actually very rare. There are very few pre-wash treatments in the world because most treatments can't sustain a shampoo going on. You know, most of the treatments that are sold are just really conditioners that go on the surface and then you rinse them off. You know, so they call them masks, they call them whatever. But any treatment that's going on after the shampoo is not really going very deeply because it can't sustain being washed off. You know, ours is a pre-wash treatment that goes deep into the hair and can be washed after and be retained in the hair shaft. And that's why also our shampoos and conditioners also have cashmere protein to keep that topped up. So in terms of being a core process, I think that was possibly true many years ago. But in terms of how the villages and the herders and how the goats are looked after now by the big companies that are involved in that supply chain, it's all changing. And you know, the industry helps these communities, and the goats are actually looked after.
Okay, so it's like free range.
Probably. I think it is definitely free range. It literally comes from outer Mongolia.
Okay, how do you get the cashmere? Would be interesting to know. Do you know how they harvest it?
It's in terms of from the animal, it's combed. The animals aren't harmed. It's not like some animals are killed for their fur. With the goats, you know, they're valuable creatures, and it's actually combed from their neck, and then the hair is treated to hydrolyze the protein from it.
Yeah.
Now, proteins in themselves are very long molecules, so you know that's too much for the hair to absorb. They're broken down into small amino acids. So the amino acids that make up the long protein molecule, that's what ends up being absorbed into the hair. The amino acids replace the voids where you've lost your own protein in the hair. So those holes and voids are filled. That allows your hair to hold closer to the correct moisture content. So the hair stays more flexible, and people will notice how the hair actually the curl will come back. It will hold the curl. And so it slows down the aging process because the hair is flexible again and complete. But it's not a case of take bad hair, use a treatment once, and that's it. Your hair's fine now for a year. You know, in the same way that you can't brush your teeth once and then not again for the rest of the year, you have to keep the product in the hair. And from our own experience, the product will stay in the hair for one, maybe two shampoos. So we recommend that at least every other shampoo you're using the treatment. However, you can't overuse it.
Yeah.
You can put it on every day. The hair will only take what it wants. So we have clients that will take the product on holiday and use it every day as a sun and sea protection. And because they're using it every day, they're in the discipline of it, they come back with better hair than they leave. Now that's actually quite something when you go on a summer holiday.
Yeah.
But it's because they're very disciplined about using the product.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've got some questions about sort of more general hair concerns, but about people who scuba dive and are in salt water an awful lot. And I had a feeling that the Lifesaver UV would be perfect for that. But I thought
it's an amazing product.
Yeah. Before we move on to, I absolutely love Lifesaver UV. I think I actually love it a little bit more than pre-wash, if I'm really honest.
I use UV myself, so if you're using that as a styling product, you know, it's almost like, yes, you could use the pre-wash now and then, but you're actually putting the treatment in the hair all the time as a styling product. And that's what I do for my own hair. Otherwise, it's like it becomes a bush.
So, Michael, will going silicone-free help our lovely ladies' curls hold?
Definitely. The problem with silicone is that it wedges itself into all the voids and cracks in the hair and displaces water. So over time, you end up with your hair being less and less flexible. So people with a wave in their hair will notice that as they use silicone for a long time, the hair becomes straighter. The ends become straighter. It has less ability to bend. If they're using a Dyson Airwrap, they may get the curl, but it will drop out quickly.
Yeah, which we have. I mean, in fairness, my very first experience with the Airwrap, Michael, I'd finished one side of these lovely curls, and then I came to do this side, and this side was straight again. I was devastated, absolutely devastated, because I'd always used a barrel brush and a hairdryer. I managed to get curls, no problem at all. So I just assumed it'd be just the same with the Airwrap, but it wasn't. But not a problem now. Definitely not. In fact, it's almost too curly now. Okay, so let's come back to some questions. Is there a good way to clear out or clarify all them silicones out of our hair before we switch to a silicone-free product?
It's a very good question, and I do get asked a lot. And the problem is that a lot of the clarifying and detox shampoos are very strong. They have high detergent percentages in them to strip the hair. And silicone is very resistant. You know, a couple of clarifying shampoos will not take all the silicone out of your hair.
Yeah.
You know, in my experience, 10, 20 shampoos, and it's better to do that over time so as not to damage the hair with aggressive cleaning.
Okay.
I think it's asking for patience for people.
But we all like our hair to feel really lovely from the outset. And if it's not feeling so lovely when we first start with our silicone-free products, what can we do to keep persevering? I mean, we're in a perfect situation at the moment. We're in lockdown. So we've not got Saturday nights out on the town. We're not going for meals with friends. We're not eating out, drinking and going clubbing or any of those things. So we do have a perfect opportunity to go through the pain barrier a little bit. But what can we do to ease that? What can we do to help improve our condition in the meantime?
I think the problem that people with a lot of hair color or a lot of damage will have, if their hair is already very damaged. So we're looking at a lot of hair at this end here.
Yeah,
it's very, very damaged. The treatments will only do so much. If you're used to varnishing over that with silicone, then our treatments won't compete with that. But the problem is that if you carry on using silicone, you will always be in that vicious cycle of the hair degrading. So it's really how important is it to you to ultimately have much better healthy hair? And it's not just about silicone, it's about using better hair drying techniques, using better coloring techniques. I think if people are doing too much to their hair, then hair can only take so much. Yeah. And certainly when we have our own clients, we can devise the strategy where they can get the absolute most out of their hair with the least cost. Yeah. The least cost of the condition as well. And so a lot of it's about being a bit more educated and discovering more intelligent ways to look after your hair, because we like doing things to hair. We're hairdressers. I love doing stuff to hair. I'm not saying people should live like a nun. We want to do stuff, but we want to do stuff and not kill the hair because we want to do it tomorrow as well. We come from having a clientele. We've got about 100 clients that have been with me for 40 years. Now, they're with me, and I want to see them. If I have a new client, I want to see them for life. It's very important to me that whatever I do to their hair is actually good long term. Unfortunately, a lot of the industry doesn't think that way. People hop around salon to salon. Hairdressers know that, and they'll just do whatever they want on the day for the big bling bang, amazing experience. And if it's killed the hair, they don't care.
No, I have to say,
problem next time.
I have to say my hairdresser is very good like that. She's like, if you want to go lighter, it's a journey. We're not reaching the end destination today if you want to go really, really light, because that's not going to happen. You know, she's very focused on the integrity of the hair and maintaining that. I mean,
that's great. That's great.
Which does help. But I have to say, Michael, last time I went to a salon, I've been using your products for about 2 months or so. And ordinarily I would reach a point where my hair's grown so long, so like your picture, and it starts to look straggly, so it gets chopped off. And this time she went, are we keeping the length of this hair? Because it's looking amazing. Great. And so we did, yeah, and it's so satisfying. So that's really what it's about.
Yeah. And if they're having their hair cut simply to keep the condition well, which a lot of people with long hair do, they find, we have a lot of clients that find they use the product religiously, they don't get their hair cut so often. Now, I'm not trying to do myself out of business, but that's actually the case.
Yeah, absolutely. So for people who ask, will it make their hair longer? I guess the answer is no. It won't make your hair grow any quicker out of your head than normal.
Exactly.
But
it will stop it shrinking at the end, because for most people, it's growing ½ inch a month out of the root, but if you feel it stopped growing or it's getting very weak, it's just disintegrating at the same rate at the ends. And by slowing that disintegration down, suddenly the hair becomes longer.
Okay. That is really helpful. And I think we've probably been chatting. I have no sense of time because there's no clock on this video. I don't know how long we've been talking, Michael. Probably. Oh, we're not doing too bad. I thought we might have been chatting for hours and everybody's gone to bed now, but I'm just absolutely intrigued and fascinated to meet you and ask you all of these incredible questions. So can I ask you, are we all right to use water-soluble silicones? Again, the whole silicone question is a bit mind-blowing. And what's good, what's bad, what should we be massively avoiding?
I think the manufacturers know that you know, the insoluble silicones like dimethicone, cyclopentasiloxane, all those popular ones, they know they're not good for the hair. You know, I even read an article where Gail Frederici gave an interview, and she was John's partner in Frizzies, and even she said, yeah, probably better not to use silicones because it's not great for the hair and it's not great for the scalp. And I thought, oh my God, she's actually saying it now, you know, having developed Frizzies and sold it off, for her to be saying that, you know, manufacturers know that. I do think that the water-soluble silicones are so much better, but I would still be concerned if they were in the first 4 or 5 ingredients on the list, because you know that's a high concentration.
Yeah.
But in a small amount, I don't think it's a big issue.
Can I ask you, what does PEG mean, Michael? So I do notice that in the mousse, because honestly, in Michael we trust within our group, I have to say. And then we were a little surprised to see the polysilicon 15 in the Lifesaver UV, which we've shared the answer to that, but I will ask you again just for the purpose of the video.
Yeah,
but also the PEG dimethicone in the mousse.
Yes.
So they're just two things, because we're like we are holy, we are silicone free, and then we were like,
I'm very impressed that you are so on the ball, and I would like to explain those. You know, some of the styling products are legacy formulas that we've had for a long time, and we are moving across to making sure none of them have silicone in them. Having said that, in the mousse, it's less than 1%, and we actually started to reformulate 3 years ago, and it was early last year that we were ready to bring our new formula out, and then we had lockdown 1, and that disturbed the whole supply chain of development. But I'm pleased to say that those formulas have been signed off, and during the course of this year, none of our products will have even that less than 1% of silicone. I think it's only 2 products left now, the holding spray and the mousse. We managed to get the thicker, quicker done last year before lockdown, which is an amazing product.
We know.
It had, yeah, again, it had less than 1% of dimethicone, but we managed to get that out. We replaced it with an aloe vera. We found replacements for the other. So we have 2 products left, which are being dealt with. But it's not a big issue. It's less than 1%. In terms of the Silicone-free, that is a UV filter that's in our Lifesaver UV. Again, it's less than 1%. It is very different to the silicones I talk about, like dimethicone and cyclopentasiloxane, which are inert. Silicone-free is more of an active silicone. It is very different. But having said that, because it does cause confusion, as of tomorrow, our new formula arrives, and that old formula sold out weeks ago.
We know.
As I say, it is a fantastic product. I use it myself. But as of tomorrow, we have the new formula which replaces that one tiny ingredient with a natural product from sunflowers.
Honestly,
I'm really pleased to have that out.
there's a lot of love for the Lifesaver UV in our group. Everybody wants it. Everyone's like, when's it coming back in? So brilliant. So I did say that people could look out over the weekend for it coming in. So that's perfect. Have you any thoughts? I think this is kind of out of your hands really, but any idea when we might be able to start shipping overseas again with border issues, so to Europe and Ireland?
It's really a big problem, and it's not our issue directly. Our logistics company, it's their problem, and DPD and DHL have actually just stopped even trying to get things across. So I believe it will resolve itself in the next few weeks, but it has been a real problem for us.
Okay. So what can some of our members who suffer with greasy hair, and literally it's like the bane of their life, they would love to last longer, and we have had some members reporting that they are lasting longer now, they're using the silicone-free brands, but what can they do?
So there have been a few of your members talk about the greasy hair. First, I'd like to say that in the treatments, they are essentially protein and water in a blend of our conditioning agents. They cannot make the hair greasy. There's no oils in them. So you cannot overuse them, and that cannot make the hair greasier. If the scalp is producing too much sebum, and in your shampoo cycle, you don't want to wash it so often, one of our products, which is a scalp balancing shampoo, has sulfur, some other ingredients that help to regulate the sebum production of the scalp, and it's a very effective product. When I started hairdressing, 3 shampoos, there were 3 types of shampoo, one for oily hair, one for dry hair, one for normal hair. They don't talk about that now because very few people actually have greasy hair. Most people just wash their hair every day or every other day. In the old days, people washed their hair once a week. But if the scalp is producing too much sebum, this is a very good shampoo, the Scalp Balancing shampoo, and that's something that we've had for many years, but recently launched to the general public.
Okay. We've got a whole lot of love for the products. Lots of people saying how much they love the products on the question. So I'm just looking through. Let me refer back to my trusty list that I had originally, because I feel like I'm just chatting to you about anything and probably not answering anybody's questions, Michael, to be honest. So we've talked about the people who are feeling like, oh my God, it's not feeling great. We've got those who are like, this feels amazing, and they go through a roller coaster. It's like the first use, it's like amazing, and then it's like, oh, not feeling so amazing now. So we've talked about that. We've talked about greasy hair. There was the hair care. Oh, people who are thinking about giving themselves a little cut in lockdown, you know, a little self-lob. Now, I believe that if you don't use the right scissors, you can cause more damage than good. Is that true?
I would most definitely get proper hairdressing scissors because hair is a very tough element, and you'll find if you try to use even what you think are sharp scissors, if they're not set like hairdressing scissors. They will slip and you will not get a good result. So if you're going to make any attempt, at least use hairdressing scissors.
Okay. And what about colouring? What can we do to be as kind as possible to our hair, but without having to be boring?
Well, there are so many different ways of colouring hair. It's harder in lockdown where people are doing their own colour. I'm very wary of people putting tints all over their hair. A lot of the things that are sold in the retail market, outside of professional, use elements in the colours that can cause problems with later colouring.
Yeah.
Whereas in the professional market, across any brand, they know that another professional needs to work on that hair after, so they will avoid certain things like heavy metals and things that will react next time. That's not quite so true in the retail market. It's more about, bang for your buck today and less concern about the next day. And also the word semi-permanent is one that annoys me and has done for most of my career since I started using it. Semi-permanent tends to suggest that you can try it and it's not better. But semi-permanent has come to mean a weak tint that's permanent. Essentially, you get the damage permanently, but the colour doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
So the colour is semi, but the damage is permanent.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that on long hair, you're putting what they call a semi-permanent colour on long hair, you are changing the structure of the ends of the hair. You're not just dealing with the roots. And if you keep doing that, the hair becomes more and more damaged at the ends. And that's where you get to the point where when your hair's wet, you can't get a comb through it.
Yeah.
Because the cuticle is all lifted and it's just basically destroyed.
Yeah.
So, I would say if you're going to cover your hair, be careful what you're using. Try to just work on hair that doesn't have colour. So do the roots. Try to avoid colour on top of colour.
Yeah.
Think about when hairdressers have the industry has come out with a word now called a toner, which sounds really quite inoffensive and quite simple. And it used to be that it may be like a vegetable colour or it's like a coloured wash at the end. Now it seems to encompass, again, weak tints. So diluted tints would go over the whole of the hair. And again, what you're having is on long hair, you're having tint going onto the ends of the hair again and again and again.
Yeah.
So the ends of the hair might end up being tinted 12 times.
Yeah.
So, that's the sort of thing that degrades hair.
Yeah.
So, for me, if someone's hair doesn't actually need that type of effect, you can use a vegetable colour.
Okay.
Now, a vegetable colour is harmless in the sense that it will sit on the surface. It may not last as long, but it's very easy to apply. But it doesn't have any damage whatsoever.
And are they quite readily available?
They are available. The thing to check is that you're not mixing two things together. If you're mixing two things together, it's permanent.
Okay.
If it's in one bottle or one tube, then that's more likely to be a vegetable colour. And one thing I will say is when the ends of hair become very, very damaged, they become very porous and open, a weak tint won't last any longer than a vegetable colour.
Right.
Even a tint will
It just kind of falls out, doesn't it?
Fall out very quickly. Yeah. So you may just as well use a vegetable colour, which does no further harm. You're not getting any benefit from tinting it yet again.
Okay. That's actually really helpful, because obviously they're two of the things we start looking to do when we're in lockdown. Our roots are coming through. We decide we're going to give ourselves a little trim. What about...
There's always better ways of colouring hair. It makes me think of a story in the early 80s. I don't know if you remember Paula Yates, Bob Geldof's wife. She came to us very early in the 80s, and she had very long hair, bleach blonde, and she joked, and she sort of ran her hands through her hair, and part of it broke off. I mean, it was just so heavily bleached. And we started to look after her hair, and she became a friend for the rest of her life. Sadly, she was cut short. But I remember
Yeah.
many years later, she said, had you said to me, don't bleach your hair, I'd never have come back.
No. That's it, isn't it? Because we still want to have our image and how we want our hair to be.
And we didn't say you shouldn't bleach your hair, but we managed a better way for her to do it so that her hair didn't end up breaking off and being on the floor.
Yeah.
There's ways of managing. People can have the look they want, but it needs to be done in a careful way.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thinning scalp. So if hair feels like it's really thinning through the scalp, and obviously for ladies, we feel more self-conscious than, you know, it kind of happens to men quite a lot, and we kind of happily ignore it and take the mickey out of them. But when it happens to us, we feel quite self-conscious about it. Is there something we can do to help that? Is it solvable with shampoo and conditioner? Is it not? Do silicones impact that in any way, or do they not?
It's lots of things. In terms of the silicone issue, there was, I spoke about earlier this case in the 80s where people were talking about losing hair from a silicone-based wash and go. There was a case more recently with an American product that was heavily promoted on PVC. And this was a co-wash product. So the idea that you're not using a shampoo, you're sort of massaging a cream into the hair and it's all much healthier. In America, the FDA regulate the cosmetics industry. They don't regulate the hair industry. Or the food and drugs.
Yeah.
They don't regulate the hair industry. In the food and drug industry, if a company has, I think it's something like more than 50 complaints or something, or 20 complaints, they have to notify the FDA. Because that rule doesn't apply in the cosmetics industry, this company was sitting on 20,000 complaints from women about losing their hair before it became public.
Wow.
Now, they ended up settling in a class action lawsuit for about $60 million. But, that's one issue. I do think that you're massaging things into the scalp which aren't necessarily that healthy, you're going to affect the root follicle, and it's going to impact healthy growth. The other things would be healthy diet, not too much sugar, not much stress in your life. And I know that's difficult with the way the world's going. Most often, the problems are hormonal. Where the hormonal changes interfere with the life cycle of the hair, and they push more of the hair too early into its forming cycle. But it's generally diet or hormonal.
Yeah. So talking of hormonal hair, if we end up with sort of quite fine but coarse hormonal hair, how can we best manage that?
Well, as I say, once you've dealt with all the lifestyle aspects of trying to be as healthy as possible, massaging the scalp, good diet, exercise, and enough sleep, very important. The products that you can use will be the things that actually make hair look fuller. The treatments will work on each hair shaft to plump up the hair shaft and make the most of it, keep it flexible. Beyond that, styling products like thicker, quicker, the volumizing mousse will add more to that. The 10-second transformation will add a bit more. Learning how to use these products to the best effect will make the most of what you have. And that's the main thing. Through life, people will have slightly less hair as they get older. That's the normal process. But how you manage that and what you do with what you have is the difference between having hair that looks good or always fighting with your hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not unusual for us to take someone that thinks they've got fine hair, and in the space of a session, they now feel they have twice as much hair.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just using the right things at the right time in the right places.
Absolutely. Cutting techniques, drying techniques, everything.
Yeah. So for anyone whose hair is really soft, they might be struggling. Again, I'm coming back to curl hold, Michael, because it is the biggest question on the group. If your hair is really soft, what can you do to give it that bit of grit to hold a curl, hold a style? What's the best things to do?
So there's slightly different what you said there. So you can have very soft hair that still has a spring and is very flexible. It can still be soft. The softness isn't necessarily what's making the hair drop.
Okay.
But if your hair is so silky soft that you're struggling to get volume, you know, something like the thicker, quicker will give grip. That will give grip to the surface of the hair shaft. So if you're looking at hair where, you know, all of the hair is really, really very healthy and it doesn't have any grip, and you're trying to do things with it and just not wanting to do much, things that will give a little bit of grip to the surface will allow you to do much more. So like the Thickening Quicker is a thickening spray. It will, you can play with the hair more. It will make it more pliable and also give it some texture.
Brilliant. Thank you. So I'm getting a few coarse grey hairs coming through now, Michael. They stick up like little aerials. Somebody called them aerials the other day, and I thought that's actually a really good word for them, because they're like little wiry aerials. How can we best manage them? How can we control them?
Well, I've just put a blog out on getting volume that lasts. And for the first time, I've gone into a little bit more detail about styling technique and how to use a round brush if you're using a round brush. And this is something that we teach our professionals. So it's the first time I've actually brought some of our professional training into the public arena. But in terms of hair that's fitted up, if you're using a round brush, it's very important that you hold the hair in a way that the brush gets at the root. A lot of people don't hold the hair up enough, so when the brush goes in, they're not really controlling the first 3 or 4 inches of the root. And then also, if they're using a hair dryer that's crossing the hair this way, it will blow those short hairs in a myriad of directions, and then you will have a crooked look. So the key thing is A, hold the hair high enough that the brush goes in at the root. The hair dryer must always be pointing along the hair shaft to blow those short hairs in the same direction. So
I was smiling then. I was smiling then because the Airwrap comes with a barrel brush, Michael, and it blows hair through. So we have a cheeky question of you, actually, because we know, we've seen that you don't use concentrator nozzles on your hair dryers. So you might want to tread a little carefully here, because you've got 14,000 Dyson Airwrap users. You don't use concentrator nozzles, so you've not got the heat directly against the hair. But of course, the Airwrap wraps the hair around the barrel and the heat blows through it. So what are your thoughts on the Dyson Airwrap?
So that's different. The reason I'm against the nozzles is because even in professional hands, what the nozzle is doing is actually multiplying the power of the dryer by about 3 times. So the difference between that much airflow and tight airflow of a nozzle gives much more heat to the hair. Now, you can blow dry your hair every day if you're doing it carefully. You can have long hair. We have clients that have wavy, frizzy hair that they tint blonde, and they come in and have it blow dried 3 times a week. It works fine for them if it's done carefully. The damage that's done when you're blow drying hair is after the point where the hair is dry. So you have damp hair, you're blow drying it, and you carry on drying and drying for too long after it's dry. That's when the hair becomes dehydrated. Because you're no longer taking the water out of the hair, you're actually working on the hair's own water balance, the innate moisture that's in the hair. When you have a nozzle, that change from dry to too dry is much, much shorter. You know, on someone's fine hair, it could be a microsecond.
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing your own hair, you just don't have the sensitivity to understand when you are now damaging the hair.
Yeah.
That's why I say don't use the nozzles, and they're really not necessary. You know, and again, I write about this on the blogs. You know, for most hairdressers, it's just a lazy way of resting the dryer on the hair and just dragging it through. You know, it's just really not good for the hair.
Okay, so our air wraps aren't too bad then.
No, this is different. We're not saying don't work on dry hair. You know, the tongs and things can work. It's more not working on hair too far after it's dry.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so when it's dry enough but not too dry, because that, like you say, that's the hair's own
and if
moisture.
you're blow drying with a brush and you're trying to get a kink out or something and you get it wrong, you can't just carry on blow drying it when it's already dry. You can't just go on and on and on. That's when the damage is done. If it's not right, damp it, do it again.
Yeah, that's very good advice there. Not that I would expect anything less, of course. We have some members who are really suffering with itchy scalp and, you know, kind of consistent. What can they do to help ease that itchy scalp? What can they use alongside existing products? Or, you know, we've got some who obviously using 3 more inches, and we've got other members. What can they do to ease that?
It depends why the itchiness is there, and how often they're shampooing their hair. If they're shampooing their hair regularly and it's still itchy, it may be a reaction to something in the product. Many of our products are hyperallergenic, but you know, any product that has a fragrance in, it may be that someone has a reaction to something in the fragrance. You know, that's usually the culprit if it's reacting against a product.
Right.
Yeah, it's usually in the fragrance. But if they look at their diet, you know, high sugar diets can aggravate the build-up of microbes around the scalp and almost like a yeast production, which can lead to flakiness. That's something that could be looked at. You know, is there a high sugar diet going on? Our product, exfoliating scalp shampoo, is fantastic for keeping scalps clear. And since we created that a year or 2 ago, it's something that I use. And I would say to use that every week, once a week. I actually use it all the time.
Is that anyone? Should anyone use that once a week?
I use it all the time as my shampoo now, and I shampoo my hair every other day. It's just a great product, and it uses AHAs, alpha hydroxy acid, like in high-grade cosmetics. So it's not an abrasive exfoliator. It's actually melting the flakiness and the debris with fruit acids.
Okay.
And that keeps the scalp very clear and free to breathe. And if you're washing your hair every other day, you shouldn't have a problem.
Thank you. I'm sure that'd be really helpful, because I know it's something that's been talked about a lot recently, is itchy scalps and what have you. Talking about perfume, this is another one that's debated quite a bit. Some people love loads of fragrance in their perfume, in their hair products and stuff. They love that the sensatory feeling of the smell of the shampoo and what have you. I don't know where I'm heading. I do know where I'm heading with it, but I don't know where I'm starting with it. We've got some members who are like, oh, it's not perfumed enough, and then others who are asking for perfume free.
Sure.
So do you have fragrances in them? Are they natural fragrance? Is it just happens to be what the ingredients are in the shampoo? I'll leave it to you to answer that rather than keep passing on.
Our core range never had any fragrances in. So when we started with our original shampoo and conditioner, our Lifesaver UV, our Lifesaver, you know, they have never had fragrance in. So whatever smell you sense from those, that's just the ingredients. Yeah. And the reason I never put fragrances in this particularly is because a lot of people wear this overnight and they sleep in it. And you know, I felt that it's too much to have an aura of a fragrance around when you just want to use it as a nighttime treatment. Having said that, we are actually bringing out a version of this because people have said, what about having one with a fragrance? And we're using
lavender for sleeping.
Well, we are using aromacology to come together with a fragrance that will actually help sleep. So this one will have an option. There will always be the original fragrance-free, and there will be an option of a fragrance product. In terms of the other products do have a fragrance because that's what's being demanded. And we work with a fantastic perfume house that are based in Grasse in France that look after very high-end brands as well. And when we want a fragrance, we work together to design a fragrance that's unique for us and works with the products that we want. We probably use about 7 or 8 different fragrances at the moment. And so the other products do have fragrances, but we're very careful not to put too much in.
Yeah.
For us, it's enough to make it pleasant. I don't want very high fragrance levels in. I think also if you're using different products, you don't want them competing either, and then you have your own perfumes as well. So fragrance but low level.
Okay. Purple shampoo, Michael. We've heard a little rumor. That you might be doing a purple shampoo.
I'm hoping to have it this month, actually, because we spent the last few years designing one. So it's really just getting it in chain in the production program. But I am hoping that the lab will have it with us this month in February.
Brilliant.
So and conditioner. There'll be a pair.
Ooh. I might need to get through that litre bottle pretty sharpish then that I've got the UV protected. We love a purple shampoo. And what about dry shampoo? What are your thoughts on dry shampoo?
It's not somewhere I've gone yet, although we do get a lot of demands, and I am looking into it. From my own research into the market, I don't love a lot of what I've tried. Dry shampoo originally was designed to help take away grease, where you couldn't get to have your hair shampooed. And we would have it in our kit bag in the early days. If we turned up at a studio with a model that hadn't washed her hair ready for the shoot, we had no way of shampooing her hair. So having a can of dry shampoo was useful. I think in the last 10 years, they've turned into a styling product to actually give body to the hair. So people are using dry shampoo, almost like a dust to create lift in the hair. And that's fine, but some of the ones I've tried are really quite nasty in that I've tested them on myself, and it's taken me 7 or 8 washes to get the ingredients out. So we certainly won't be going down that route, but we probably will have a dry shampoo out probably next year.
Okay, so that's one to watch out for then. Just to add to your vast range. I have to say there isn't much that I think you're missing from the range whatsoever.
It's what we want to use in the salon, so that's where it comes from. Yeah,
you're not necessarily a consumer driven brand really, are you? You're a salon based brand and you're working with clean hair all the time predominantly, so you don't necessarily need dry shampoo.
We start as a salon brand, but I have to say it's becoming, the consumer side is huge now, and it's growing very, very, very fast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of us loving the fact that we don't have to wash every other day, every day, or whatever. We've got some who like washing their hair every day. I'm not in that camp. I am in the 2 times a week maximum, and I'm happy. So it's great to know that there's a dry shampoo in the pipeline. Will people's hair grow more with products? So if they've found they've had hair loss, will they find that resumes, or is that once it's gone, it's gone? Sorry, dog's toy now.
It depends. Firstly, hair loss. How is that? Is it loss of the thinning of the hair shaft, or is it loss out of the scalp? Is it the
from the scalp? From the scalp.
The complete loss of the hair shaft.
Yeah.
It really depends why it's lost. During the cycle of hair growth and fall, you will be, for the average person, the hair will grow for 4 to 5 years. It will fall out. It will rest for 3 months, and then it will start growing again. So at any one time, there's a proportion of your hair that is in resting phase, and a proportion that is working its way down to the tips of your hair.
Yeah.
So you never have all of your hair from the root length to the ends. That's not how it is. There's always a proportion midway and a proportion that's asleep, waiting to start again.
Okay.
There are times of life, times of season, stresses and strains, pregnancy, menopause, that can interfere with that cycle of growth, rest, fall. So there are periods where growth can be shortened, and the resting phase can be extended, and then it can take longer to start to grow again. So those are often hormonal changes that cause that, and that hair will come back as things get stabilized. There are other issues where hair fall is much more long-term and permanent. Okay. And of course, in the life cycle, it's normal to have less hair at 80 than when you're 18.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a straight line, but that's the way it's going.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I guess being silicone-free, you're doing the very best that you can to just try and keep things as good as possible for as long as possible, basically.
And feeding the hair.
Yeah, from inside.
Remembering that once the hair's out of the scalp, it's no longer connected to the metabolism. Yeah. Whatever's done to that hair is permanent. So constantly feeding the hair slows down that damage, slows down that aging of the hair, and can make a massive difference.
Okay. Can you tell us what your balancing shampoo does?
So the balancing shampoo actually regulates the sebum production.
Okay, so for anyone with greasy hair, would that be better?
Yes. So if your hair is more oily than average, this will help to regulate the sebum production and give the hair more strength and body. Often people with greasy hair, not always, have quite floppy hair as well.
Okay, so that's really helpful. When's the exfoliating scrub coming back in, Michael? There's a lot. You've got a wait list. I'm not going to lie, there's a wait list.
I know, and I do apologise, and it is a little bit of a problem. But again, these are just production issues that have been caused by the lockdowns around the world.
I know.
And I'm hoping to have it very soon.
Well, we are waiting with bated breath. We're very much looking forward to trying that one. With the styling products, can you use the Lifesaver UV and layer it up with mousse, or is it best to use one or the other, or would you use UV, dry it off a bit, and then use mousse? Should it be layered? Should it not?
Well, with all of our products, I don't know all of the answers, and I rely also on our stylists and stylists around the world that do things with our products, and we think, well, that's actually great. That's really interesting. Something we found from other hairdressers around the world that were putting the Lifesaver in their colour, in their tint. So mixing some of this in with the tint bowl, and actually it was more protective on the hair and gave them more luster from their colour. That's a great tip. We had one of our stylists here who found that just using the Lifesaver UV on wavy hair was great, but if they wanted it to have a bit more hold, they mixed it in hand with mousse.
Right.
So that then gave it the treatment effect of this, but a bit more hold because of the mousse as well. So mixing those together and
in the hand before you apply it,
applying them together is a great effect. I mean, my own regime. I mean, my hair is actually It's nuts at the moment. I haven't had it cut for 6 months because of lockdowns. But my own hair is actually quite frizzy, and I will use on wet. I'll put the Lifesaver UV on, just comb it, and then do nothing until it dries, and then I will use a little bit of. I used to use more of the 3-second, the 10-second transformation when my hair was shorter. Now I actually use both the oil and the 10-second transformation, because again my hair is different. When it's 3 inches longer, it's a different approach. So this does one thing to it, but this actually does something else, which works for me now my hair's longer.
Well, we shared your video on the group last weekend, actually, Michael, that you did.
Oh, is that me doing my hair?
Yeah, when you did your hair.
One.
Yeah, so we've shared that on the group, and one of our members, I shared a video today of using the transformation balm and the magic oil, which I did a couple of hours before we met today, and she gave us a great tip of using a bit of the transformation balm, which when I get nails back on, Michael, because they're not always half eaten and missing, it's going to be quite tricky to do. But with no nail on that finger, I was able to push a bit of the balm off onto my palm. I'd say it's about the size of a cooked grain of rice, and I put that on the palm of my hand, and then magic oil, 2-3 drops, and it all blends in together wonderfully, and then you mix it up. And
very good, very good, very
so,
good. Your hair is great.
Thank you. I mean, it is a balayage, which is, they're not always ideal, are they? And I do know the ends are beyond repair, but I'm doing what I can now, and it's so much. I mean, the shine as a blonde never had shine really until now, and now I can't get enough of it. Great. I'm like, it just looks glossy, and that's
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing about balayage is, balayage is a great technique, but I think where it's become so popular, and a lot of technicians and colorists don't quite understand or maybe think long term, you have to still be careful about not overlaying the same hair with colour again and again each time, because that's what causes the damage. Why the ends become so disintegrated.
Yeah, I have to say, I have baby lights through the top just once in a while, maybe about twice a year, just through the top, and then maybe once every 18 months I go, right, it really needs brightening up because it's all been cut.
That should be fine. That should be fine.
That's a relief. It should be fine now. I'm using your marvellous products as well, because it's keeping it in great condition. I can't literally have told, I've even bought a friend a gift set because I loved it that much. I'm looking through. I'm looking through because I'm still chatting to you, not really paying attention to all the questions. So I'm really hoping everybody's saying how broke they're going to be when you launch all these new products, Michael, because they've already bought up everything that you've made so far.
Well, thank you very much.
They've tried pretty much everything. And they want to try everything that you're launching. So especially purple shampoo, I hope you've ordered a lot, because that is going to run out rapidly. I can forewarn you that now. To be honest, I hope you've got a lot of Lifesaver UV as well coming in tomorrow, because you could be out of stock come Sunday.
Well, I have to say, a lot of it's going to Australia on Monday as well.
Oh, some of our Australian members will be very happy about that. Talking of the stockists overseas, some of them kind of stock part of your range, and our members are wanting to get their hands on more of the products, and have asked the likes of Mecca if they would be prepared to stock styling products as well, and they've kind of got a bit of a flat no. So obviously we're just here to apply a little bit of pressure on you, Michael.
Please do. They don't have all of our products, but yeah, please do. So we get a lot of bloggers from Australia just talking about products. We had one was sent to me yesterday. She had 5.5 million followers, and she mentioned Mecca in the blog. So we have a lot of support out there. So if they don't have some of our styling products, just ask them.
Yeah. I know it has been, they have been asked and they got a no back, but maybe we just need to apply a bit more pressure to them to get more from you. We've got a number of members in America who are shipping from the UK. And to be honest, they could buy a whole extra gift set for the delivery.
I know. Well, I'm hoping that by early March, we will be with Amazon.com. So America will be serviced by Amazon.
Ah, brilliant. Well, I have seen that Amazon have had your products on before, haven't they?
Yeah, just started here. Where they had them on before, it was with a distributor, not through us. But we have now started ourselves on Amazon. They're just starting to refine it. But it will be on Amazon.com in March.
Okay.
So
I just want to, that'd be brilliant. Well, I think that would probably help you from a global perspective, because
yes.
Certainly our Irish members and our European members are really can't wait to get the deliveries rolling again. But I know, like I say, I know we said earlier, it's out of your hands that. Someone else has said, how best should we be exfoliating our scalp? Because in a recent article, you've said not to go round in circles with the hair when massaging into the scalp. So how should we be exfoliating our scalps, Michael?
Okay, so I'm not sure if that's not been clear in my blog. What I meant is not to rub the hair over itself in circles, because especially if the hair is coloured or fragile,
focus on
it will knot it. So when you're massaging, I don't know if I can sort of show, when you're massaging, it should be that the fingers are massaging the scalp, and it should come from the hands. If it's coming from the shoulders and doing this, that's not good for the hair.
Okay.
So if you take the head and you're massaging through your fingers, that's absolutely fine. And that's how it should be. That's a massage that will, truly revitalize the scalp to release
stimulate it.
Yeah, release the tension. But this, and we have this when we're training apprentices. If they're doing this on hair, that's not massage.
No,
that's just wiping hair across itself.
Yeah. Okay. We have some of our members are obviously hairdressers and stylists themselves, and might be keen to set up any kind of wholesale arrangement. Do you work with other salons on a wholesale basis, or is it exclusive?
We've had the range 10 years now, and we've never really gone out to sell the products. We've had people ask if they can stock it, and we either said yes or no. But we are now, because the company's grown so fast and so much bigger, we are now building a team that can handle professional side. So within the next week or two, our website will have a salon professional page, which will offer people the advantage to wholesale, and also subscribe to membership to a whole other deep training side of our industry, another website, which will be for apprentices to salon owners. With our training, everything we're going to give to.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. One question that has been, I can't believe I've actually not asked you yet. To what temperature does Lifesaver UV protect the hair? We get a lot of talk about, do I need a heat protectant? We know that Lifesaver UV will help protect the hair. I know the very ends of my hair, I'm doing my best to gloss them over, silicone-free, but doing my best to gloss them over. And it does feel like, because that's on the Airwrap, you do kind of think, oh, it's frying it a little bit more on the ends there. So is the Lifesaver UV enough to protect those very ends, or should we be looking for something else? Is there another solution that we should be adding?
In terms of heat protection, it's it's a difficult topic, and there are lots and lots of heat protectors being released. Most of them use either an oil or a silicone to limit the singeing of the surface of the hair shaft. And this is, I think, come about because the sort of heat temperatures being used on hair are much higher now than they were in the 1980s. I mean, I remember when I used to do session work and we had straightening irons, they were huge, clumpy things that really didn't get that hot. And just nothing compared to the speed at which modern straightening irons work, which are at a much higher temperature. So I think in terms of heat protection, the oil and the silicones can limit the singeing of the hair shaft. But in order to change the structure of hair from frizzy to straight or straight to curly, you have to give it heat.
Yeah.
So saying heat protection, it doesn't stop the heat getting to the hair. You need the heat to change the structure of the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what a lot of them are doing is offering a singe protection, but on the other side, if it leads people to think, I can do more to my hair now because I've sprayed it with something,
yeah,
it doesn't work because you know, people's hair isn't getting healthier with using heat protection. So there's something not quite right there. Yeah, I think if you're using it, it doesn't give you permission to abuse your hair more.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and that's a really valid point, to be fair. That's a really valid point.
But our products are about hydrating from within. So if you're keeping hydration in the hair, then, you know, with the proteins and the structure that we do, and some of our products do have things that would be called heat protectors, not silicones.
Yeah.
But it's more about keeping the hydration so that, you know, if you're using high heat to change the structure of the hair, there's enough hydration there not to cause the hair to become dry and brittle.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's not permission to abuse the hair.
Yeah. No, I understand that. We kind of think, oh, it's all right. I can go and do anything now because I've sprayed this on my hair. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I have had a question that I missed. I'm kind of trying to keep up with everything. The vitamins and everything that you do they, I don't know how much you know about sort of the vitamin market and things like Viviscal and those kind of products. How would it compare to something like that?
Ours will have ingredients in that are more expensive to source than high street products. So okay. I look at the ingredients in those big high street brands, and they're not using the higher grade things that make ours that much more special, and why ours have won awards. They are, again, I use them myself. It's something habitual. You know, I have 2 with breakfast.
Yeah.
And I have done for years now. I think they work really well. But again, they're not a panacea to stop the other things. They don't replace healthy food.
You can't eat McDonald's every day and pop your tablets and everything will be smashing.
Exactly. They're a supplement.
Yeah.
They're a whole body supplement, but with an edge for hair and nails. So there are certain things in there that are specifically for hair and nails, but they are a whole body health supplement.
Yeah. Okay. I'm listening and looking at questions all at the same time. I think this
tough job.
I think this question, you kind of, well, you might have answered, you might not. I mean, they're asking, are you planning on expanding beyond your Mayfair salon? Now, given you've had your Mayfair salon for as long as you have, and given that you are considering giving your skills, products, etc., to salons throughout the UK, is that your expansion route versus opening Michael van Clarke in cities around the UK?
It may come about that we have other salons through other people in the industry that want to work with us. And I think that would work very well, that we'll use our training, work closely with our ways to offer what we offer in other parts of the world. And some of those people will come from our own training, some of those people will come from the industry that we have connections with. I'm very happy to do that. I have no plans myself to run other salons.
No.
I would only do it in partnership with other people. For my own expansion plans, we have the whole world to reach with our education and our products. That's more than enough for me.
Yeah, I think you probably would have done it by now if you were going to do it, wouldn't you, really? If you were going to have one in other cities or whatever. There's been a comment about Amazon being rife with counterfeit goods. So there was, obviously you said Amazon's potentially your route for distribution, but there's some concerns about that being used by scammers, and scams are hot topic of the group at the moment because they are quite rife. But basically, people are concerned about, if you use Amazon, how do they know it's definitely your product that they're getting?
We're not aware of any fakes out there at the moment. I mean, we have various emails coming from China where people are trying to register our domain name and things, and that's something that our trademark lawyers have to deal with all the time. But I think through Amazon, we are now on Amazon UK. We're just finalising at the moment. We have our own almost mini website there. It's quite extensive, the pages that we have. They will end up fulfilling for us at the moment. Anyone that orders through our web pages, it's fulfilled by our logistics company. Eventually Amazon will fulfill for us as well. I don't believe that our checks and their checks will allow fakes to come through. Okay,
that would be reassuring for people. I think people are more concerned about, you've kind of been the best kept secret until obviously we discovered you, Michael. Not. But I think people then get concerned that suddenly it goes to someone like Amazon, and the moment something's popular on Amazon, suddenly it becomes prey to counterfeit goods.
We will have to be careful, absolutely. We will have to be careful.
Okay. This is a question, I think you might have answered it, but some of our members have moved from other silicone-free brands to 3 more inches, thinking, well, it's just another silicone-free brand, but found such a difference in your products to others. What's so unique about your products?
Well, our products are silicone-free, but that's not the only reason to use the product. It's an important issue, but the products are designed to perform better than any other product of that type. So if we develop a mousse, it has to perform better than any other mousse. Likewise, a treatment, likewise a holding spray. And we have had in our salon, we have had 2 situations in the past where we've run out of the holding spray and we've run out of the mousse. And we've had big production issues where we've changed packaging or something and been without for 6 to 9 months. This is going back many years. We sourced the professional market for the best possible product we could find. It didn't even come close. We spent 6 to 9 months fielding complaints from clients, from stylists, that what they were using, and this was an equally priced product from a leading brand. It was just nothing close. So for us, the product has to deliver, and it has to deliver for the client, for the stylist. Every single product has gone through a rigorous process before it's been launched. That's really important for us. It's not just about silicone-free. It's about maintaining a quality of hair that you just won't get from other ranges because they actually don't care in the same way that you do.
Yeah. As a product user, I would definitely agree with that. I had a question saying, I think I know the answer to this because you do it yourself, I think, but can I use Lifesaver before the exfoliating shampoo? Well, I think that's what you do, isn't it? So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So another question from someone using the products. What's the best products for the flyaways on the top of our head? So we do get a bit of this with the old Airwrap sometimes.
So
it's kind of...
If you've gone through the styling process and you still have that, then I would use if your hair's not oily at the scalp and you're a problem of over moisturizing, I would use a tiny amount of the 10-second transformation, but tiny. You know, and you have to take the time to spread it into a very thin film, and even then, don't touch the hair hard.
No,
just
very light,
very light, and that will just moisturize and help to give it some hold as well. You know, the oil will moisturize too, but that doesn't give any hold at all.
Right.
So this is about slippy, slidey.
Yeah.
This is about smooth, but with a little bit of texture and hold as well. So if you're trying to get something to lay, that is gonna hold it better than this.
Perfect. Okay, I think you might be good to go. Have you any other new products that we need to look out for? What else have you got? We're excited for any new products. Well, actually, we love all of the products that you do. I mean, from a personal perspective, everything from a treatment to shampoo and conditioner and to styling products, you've got tapped down. I will be honest and say the only thing I do buy is something just for a bit of moisture. Just feel like, and it is more down here when I'm brushing through, but I'm happy to share those secrets with you offline, Michael.
Great. No, great. Listen, we're learning all the time, and we need this sort of feedback to understand our market better and what people want, so that we can do the best for them. In terms of new products, we have a new conditioner out tomorrow, just in time for Valentine's, which is Angelica Rose conditioner. Yeah. Which again is a reformulation of a heritage product from 30 years ago. We relaunched the shampoo, which has been a huge success, and everyone's been asking for a conditioner to go with it. So that's actually out tomorrow. We have the purple shampoo and conditioner coming through as well. And we also have a growth shampoo and growth drops. And this is something that's been in formulation for a couple of years now, but we should have that by the end of the year. So that's very exciting too. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, I'm coming back to another. I was just finishing up, and then I've just spotted, if using Lifesaver UV and the Magic Oil on wet hair, what order should I use them? I would put the Lifesaver UV on first and the oil after. Okay, thank you. And then this is actually a really nice comment, because I think a lot of us feel this way. A lot of us aren't at this point yet. Some are still going through the transition journey to getting the great feeling hair. But someone here, one of our members, Alice, has said, tell him thank you so much for giving me so much hope and confidence again with my hair from using his products, which I think is a really nice way to end this. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it's very heartening for me to hear the reviews that go on the website as well. It's lovely. There is. And the whole team loves it. Yeah, and you know, can we just say, Amy works so hard. You work so hard. You give us answers as well. Louise works so hard. So everybody, we feel like we know the team now on a one-to-one basis. Right. And I will add at the end just one other thing, that we are going to have our unique discount code. Yes. Which Louise has shared today, which I think is Love15, but I'm going to confirm that. I don't know. No, don't worry. I do. So I will be sharing that with the group, and that is our unique code for us, I believe. Great. So thank you ever so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. You're the one that's worked so hard. Well, you know, it's just been a pleasure, to be honest. I can't talk enough about your products, and I know that I'm boring people silly with it, to be honest, Michael, because I literally, I mean, you know, I've used shampoo for 48 years and never felt about shampoo and products as I have about these. Are just incredible. So thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing, and please give us a heads up of all your new products so we can all get excited about them. That's brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Yvonne. Thank you. Hope to speak again soon. Bye. Bye for now.